My people, come on. Let's unpack this. You see those of you advising Peter Obi to ignore Deji Adeyanju and his reckless mouth. We need to stop that talk immediately. Enough is enough. This is not time for silence. This is time for action. If Obi truly values his reputation, the only way forward is a defamation lawsuit or at least a cybercrime petition. Because let's be real, people like Deji Adeyanju are not normal critics. They are borderline psychopath men without shame, without conscience, without any sense of right or wrong. And you know you cannot shame the shameless, right? The only language such people understand is law, force, and consequences. And let's not deceive ourselves. If Peter Obi keeps quiet now, the whole thing will be interpreted as fear. People will be like, Obi kept quiet because there is truth in what Deji is saying. My dear, that silence will haunt him even more than the insults. In fact, if he does that, he would be basically handing Deji Adeyanju a megaphone and saying, here, scream it louder. That's not wisdom. That's surrender. And let me be clear, Peter Obi cannot afford to surrender now. He started this fight. He called out the lies, challenged the narrative, and now he can't just walk away like he's seen a ghost. If he backs down now, people will say he's scared. They will say he's hiding something. They will say, away, so he's guilty. And honey, we both know that's not true. He has already taken the first bold step by calling Deji out. To back down now will make him look weak. And Obi is not weak. People are not weak. Remember when Bayo Anonoga tries to defend Peter Obi during campaigns? Obi didn't keep quiet. Just one lawsuit, one legal demand for retraction. Anonoga deleted everything and ran back with his tail between his legs. That's how you deal with people who play dirty with your name. If you don't fight back, they will think you are an easy target and they will keep coming for you. That is the power of standing your ground. That is how you shut down noisemakers. Not with silence, but with consequences. Deji wants clout. Fine. Let him have it, but let him choke on it. Let him taste the bitter pill of accountability. Because if Peter Obi didn't handle this now, it won't stop with Deji. Other APC urchins, yes, I'm calling them that. They will start thinking they can say anything about Obi and get away with it. That's how reputations get destroyed. Not in one big scandal, but in 1,000 tiny courts. And let's not talk about reputation because this is everything. In politics, your name is your currency. Your integrity is your power. Every lie that goes unchallenged, every insult that is brushed aside, gradually chips away at that power. And too often, we, especially us in the Igbo, mistake silence for strength. We think dignity means sitting quietly while people throw stones. But no, darling. Dignity is defended. It is not begged for. It is not whispered. It's declared. Reputation is not charity. It is political capital. Every insult we ignore is like one more wound to our honor. It is not just about Obi. It is about all of us. Look at what Atiku did when Onochie defamed him. Did he stay quiet? No. He went to court, fast and furious. And Tinubu, when the president and AIT came for him, did his people tell him to calm down? Did they say, I beg, let it go, we don't want trouble? No, they stood behind him. Why? Because they understand something we sometimes forget. Reputation is political capital. And defending it isn't just personal, it is collective. It's about sending a message. You don't mess with one of us and walk away without blows, cuts, and bandages. But when people hold back, when they swallow insults for the sake of peace, they start teaching the world that their dignity is up for negotiation, that their truth doesn't matter, that they would take the crumbs and say thank you. And that's not caution. That's self-sabotage. It is a slow poison that makes a whole group afraid to fight for what is theirs. History doesn't always remember the quiet ones. It remembers the ones who stood up. The ones who questioned and said enough. The ones who weren't afraid to make noise, even if it meant risk. And if Peter Obi wants to be remembered, not as a candidate, but as a leader, he has to show that he won't let rascals rewrite his story. The truth is simple. Rights are not given to those who whisper politely. Rights are taken by those who stand up boldly and demand them. If Obi refuses to act, if Ndigbo continue this habit of swallowing every insult, then the world will keep treating us like people whose dignity is negotiable. Like I said earlier, that is internal sabotage, destroying ourselves from within. Now let's be real. If Peter Obi does not become the president of Nigeria, heaven will not fall. But if he fails to defend his reputation, if he doesn't set the record straight now, the mess will fester, lies will spread, the narrative will be hijacked. And before you know it, people will start believing fiction more than the truth. So, Olo, Peter Obi, my guy, my Okute, don't ever ignore this. Don't you ever retreat. You don't whisper. You fight. You expose. You sue. You defend your name like your legacy depends on it. Because it does. And in doing so, you don't just protect yourself. You set an example for every young Igbo man and woman watching. We do not beg for dignity. we notoriously claim it loudly and unapologetically, without favor nor fear. So go on, Okute. Teach those infinitesimal miscellaneous rascals the lesson they will never forget. Because silence is not golden. It is dangerous. And for your case, you are too important to be silent. Okute, you don't need to fight everyone. But Makachukwu, teach a few of those clout-chasing troublemakers bitter lessons. Let Deji Adeyanju be the scapegoat so that others will learn and fear. That is how to protect your name, your political capital, and by extension, the dignity of Ndibo. Because in this Nigeria, silence is not golden. Silence is surrender. And Peter Obi cannot afford to surrender his good name. Galopano.
Yourself now descending to the same space or the same pedestal or the same bottom of that cliff that you're trying to say people should not descend to with the action you're taking already, if you get my drift.
You see, Peter, if Peter does not want to be criticized, he should go back to his house and be eating jollof rice. Anyone who puts himself up for public office must be criticized, must be scrutinized, must be insulted. Anybody who feels too big to be criticized or too big to be insulted, and it is his mentality that his aides and his obedient mob, that is the same mentality they have. That, oh, our candidate cannot be criticized, but Tinubu can be called a drug lord, Atiku can be called a looter, a thief, but our candidate cannot be criticized. Supreme Court judges can be named and shamed. Court of Appeal judges can be intimidated and criticized and even say they should go and lynch their children. You understand? But our candidate, we draw the line when our candidate is involved. So this is the political hypocrisy of these political extremists that we must never allow in our polity. We saw it under the Buharis. They didn't want anybody to criticize or analyze their candidate. And it is the same thing. Mr. Peter was the one that put himself up to be president. If he doesn't want me to criticize, I'm not insulting any obedient, I'm not insulting anybody. It is the man that has put himself up for president. I'm analyzing. I'm saying that, oh, as governor, you did this. You went around churches in this country to go and say church should take back their country. You spoke with Bishop Oyedepo and said that the election is a religious war. Therefore, you are a religious bigot. There's nothing I'm saying that is not in public domain. There's nothing I'm saying, or there's nothing I've said, or the things I've said. The only thing else that I forgot to say is that he's a political prostitute, which I've now added. So you should add it to the suit.
Let's look through some of the other claims in that document that was addressed to you. Because a lot of people are wondering, why are you doing this? They see you, in this sense, demarketing Mr. Peter Obi in favor of the APC, because that's what it is in that sense, because you actually said it clearly, that rather than vote for Mr. Peter Obi on that first page, you said that you would rather give your votes to President Tinubu than to give it to Mr. Peter Obi. So a lot of people are asking, are you working with the APC? They always refer to your brother as well and say, oh, there's a certain Adeyanju working with government. So let's use this medium to speak to that. Are you defending the, or at least are you supporting the APC by demarketing Mr. Peter Obi?
Why will somebody like me, God forbid that I support APC, support APC for what?
But you said you'd rather give your votes to Mr. Tinubu.
If the opposition presents Peter Obi, I will vote Tinubu. Because we cannot have a situation where people, a man who leads a mob that terrorizes people online, that cannot tolerate criticism, that call people all sort of, anybody that does not support their candidate is an enemy of Nigeria. Anybody that does not support the candidate has been paid, has been compromised, is supporting the government. Who has Peter Obi criticized this government like the way I've criticized? Does Peter Obi even know what democracy is? What sacrifices has he made for democracy? Look, we have put our line on the line for this country, for preservation of democracy, at personal expense of prosecution. What kind of charges have we not faced in this country? At a time I was almost charged for terrorism. They've charged me for all kinds of offenses in this country. So what are we talking about? What does this person know about democracy or preservation of democracy, for God's sake?